Hi guys, this is currently just speculation and let's hope it stays that way. But Nigel Farage was doing the rounds on Sunday following the news that Boris Johnson had resigned his seat in the House of Commons. Farage was asked and hinted at the prospect of Johnson perhaps working for either Reform UK or with Nigel himself. Here he was on Farage-friendly GB News, and he was asked how the ex-MP could help save Brexit, whatever that means.
So how would you work with Boris if that... I know we're talking in the land of hypotheticals. A completely separate party?
No.
You want to pull him into reform?
Do you know, setting up new political parties is a very difficult thing to do. Reform has a base, it has a structure. Who knows? I mean, maybe if the Brexit battle is going to be refought, we'll go back to the old name of the Brexit Party. Who's to say?
Look, I don't see them going back to the Brexit Party because there was a Brexit Party and the whole idea of closing down the Brexit Party was that Brexit got done. Now, since then, of course, Farage has complained about Brexit. Oh, we didn't get the Brexit that we wanted. We threw our support behind Boris Johnson and in a sense he betrayed us because he didn't get the type of hard Brexit that we wanted. And people who have supported Farage have said this as well. They've criticised Johnson for not taking advantage of the Brexit benefits, whatever they are, and they're even more critical of Rishi Sunak for not taking advantage of these benefits as well. But it's this idea of bringing back the Brexit Party makes very little sense.
I've said it for 6 months.
So you're talking about you might revive the Brexit Party?
Well, it is actually, Reform is the Brexit Party. It's just a change of name. If the Brexit battle has to be refought, that's what we'll do, obviously.
What Brexit battle? What are you talking about? A Brexit battle? A Brexit battle with who on either side? Was it Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson on one side and Rishi Sunak on the other? Like because he's Prime Minister? Or is this looking further afield where it'd be Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage on one side and Keir Starmer on the other? Keir Starmer wanting to have a closer relationship with Europe, wanting to bring down some of these barriers to trade, trying to undo the worst of Brexit, and you have Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson on the other side complaining all the time.
So you've still got an appetite for all this, because I know you're pushing for proportional representation precisely for the point you've made, that you push a boulder up a hill and you don't get much in return.
Yeah. You see, in the past, it didn't matter. You know, even though I was immensely cheesed off in 2015 to get 4 million votes and one seat, but it was all pushing towards that great referendum. Now what we need, if we're going to bust British politics as it is, if we're going to recognise the fact that actually the differences between Labour and Conservative are pretty minimal, pretty marginal in every way, if we want a new kind of politics, the hope was that Brexit would give us a new kind of politics. It's still the old politics. It's still the Oxbridge politics. That's what we have in both parties.
I know, but then you're talking about pairing up with an Oxbridge candidate.
Yes.
An old Etonian.
But
could you work with him? Is there enough space in one political party, Nigel Farage?
I hate that laugh. Is there enough space in a political party for both Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage? I don't think so. Because both of them are narcissist charlatans. It's difficult to keep both of those happy. Boris Johnson would want to be boss. Nigel Farage would want to be boss. So I don't think a ship would travel very far with two captains. But it could be something where Boris Johnson lends some support to Reform UK. If they want to reopen this Brexit battle, whatever that would involve. I don't know if this is actually going to happen. I doubt it's actually going to happen. But I do believe that after the next election, when Rishi Sunak eventually loses, it's looking more and more likely. It's not a guarantee, of course, but it's looking more and more likely. The Brexiteers will see a Labour Party in charge and a Labour Party that wants to build a better relationship with Europe. And of course, the Brexiteers will be angry over that. They will be saying, see, Brexit has been betrayed. We need to fight the Brexit battle once again. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense because Brexit has happened. The UK left the European Union. This is about picking up the pieces, the consequences of Brexit. But who's going to be fighting this? Who's going to be trying to stop progress? Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson, but in what? In what form?
For Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson?
Well, I'm very easygoing, obviously. So we'll have... I mean, we are talking hypotheticals, but the whole Brexit project is under threat. We are a country in decline. This needs to be turned around. If we had PR, I'd give you very different answers. We don't. To break the first-past-the-post system, to break the mould, to quote a phrase from Roy Jenkins from 40 years ago, when they didn't quite do it, we're going to need a number of serious household names.
So what he's talking here about is having proportional representation. This would help greatly the Brexit Party. The Reform UK Party. They have pretty much zero chance of winning an MP seat, a seat in the House of Commons. But under PR, they would have a much better chance. But, we can raise alarm bells over that. The idea of Nigel Farage sitting in the House of Commons is not something that many people would look forward to seeing. But on the other side, parties like the Green Party would have many more seats than they do at the moment. The Liberal Democrats would be a much bigger party in the House of Commons as well. So you would have maybe socialist parties to the left of the current Labour Party. They would be sitting in the House of Commons as well. So you would have a different makeup of government. Now, Nigel Farage ironically says here, which is very interesting, this is what Brexit was supposed to deliver. And ironically, I say, this might actually be a consequence of Brexit, because if the UK wants to rejoin the EU, the European Union are not going to say, well, you can jump in and jump out as you wish if you want to start the process of rejoining or joining, as the case may be, the European Union. Well, you're going to have to demonstrate to us that you're not going to just start the process and then stop it after an election because some headbangers have gotten into power. So one way of dealing with that would be having proportional representation, where you water down the more extremes within the government that is formed, the coalition government. So you could have a situation, and this is possible, where you have a pro-European Conservative Party with maybe Nigel Farage and his Reform UK Party providing its support. That sounds insane, but it's also possible. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.